welcome to the Q&A video.
Hi, how are you?
So in this video, we are going to cover 3 questions that we've received from our students over the last week, and we're also going to go over an idiom. And this week, we'll start out with the idiom, break the ice.
I like this one in particular because I'm from Minnesota, and up there's a lot of lakes, and they use icebreakers to navigate the channels during the winter. So
because there's too much ice.
Yeah, well, especially when it's cold, when you have what is it, a polar vortex? Yeah, polar vortex.
Oh yeah, they had one of those
right?
this winter. That was really cold.
Yeah, icebreakers used to forge a path so larger ships can move within these areas where you have thick forming ice, right? Mm-hmm. So that got applied to social situations where maybe people were feeling awkward or there wasn't much communication going on.
Right?
Yeah.
Stiff, right? I think ice is kind of like literally.
And so, you know, an individual may break the situation by doing something funny or, you know, doing something audacious to make everyone else feel more comfortable about themselves.
Yeah.
But that's usually what that reference refers to in a modern setting.
Yeah. People can use it to mean purposely trying to make something less awkward, but they can also mean it just as like a general introduction, like, hi, how are you? Could also be a break the ice type of phrase, but you can use it kind of in either situation. Let's see about some questions. This is the best question. First one.
Do you want to read it? Or?
You can read it.
Question 1. How do I understand fast English speakers?
It's a good question. It's a problem for a lot of people when they learn new languages, and the main reason is because when people go to learn new languages, they often take for granted the fact that the sounds in that new language are going to be similar to what they already understand in their native language. And this isn't the case. Every language on the planet has sounds that are fairly unique to that language. They may be somewhat similar, but they are distinct. These sounds are called phonemes, and your brain uses those phonemes as an actual code. It puts the pieces of the code together, all these individual phonemes, to make words. So the problem is when you start to learn a new language, if you don't learn those phonemes, your brain is trying to do a manual code breaking every time where it says, I think this sound is kind of similar to this sound, right? And then it goes, okay, this, and then there was this sound, and this, and this, and this, and it just takes too long. So when someone is speaking quickly, your brain is having to do this really slow manual process, and it can't keep up.
So even when you have a low comprehension, if you do have these frameworks to operate with, you can then pull pieces of information much easier than if you did not have them available.
Yeah, so in the end, if you are having a hard time understanding people when they speak, it's probably because you don't have a great phonetic understanding of the language. And depending on what your native language is, your struggle may be more or less difficult than somebody who speaks a different language, just simply because of, you know, histories of languages and similarities and things like that.
Also number of phonemes.
Yeah, number of phonemes, like Spanish has 24, English has 44, right? So it's, you know, almost twice as many sounds.
Well, and it's not necessarily like, if you look at the difference, it doesn't mean there's only 20 different phonemes between the languages. You have to actually look at the sounds to see whether or not there are comparable phonemes.
Is your course for beginners at learning English? So can a beginner
Yes,
walk into
our course will give you the keys to start the car, drive it all the way down the track, get it on the raceway, and win the race. Like the whole deal.
Our course really is developed to be beginning to end. If you're intermediate, I still recommend starting at the beginning.
The reality is, if you have not begun with phonemic awareness, you could be 10 years into learning your languages and you won't be as proficient as you will be if you establish phonemic awareness. That just means you learn exactly what the phonemes are
and how to combine them.
And you also, and how to combine them, and then you learn what the written representation of those phonemes are. So you know how to pronounce all of the things you're reading, and also how to, speak generally as you're communicating with other people.
Yeah, it helps you in all aspects of your language learning. So whether you're a beginner or you're very advanced, this is still helpful.
And also, I should say, it will reduce accent. So if you have been speaking English for a while and you already have an established accent, doing these practices or these, training exercises will reduce that markedly. If you're starting off learning these things first, there's literally no reason why you can't sound like you were born with the language. Like, you're literally giving your brain a separate pathway with a separate language. So it's not based on the sounds of your first language. It's not based on anything other than the establishment of those sounds and then learning the coding to, speak in that language.
The reason that we subtitle all of our videos in a lot of languages is because we want our course to be accessible to beginners. The course that we have on nootrl.com is at this moment about to be available completely in Spanish and in Arabic, and we paid a professional to do that, 2 professionals actually, so they won't be quite as
hokey.
I know.
Hokey is a word that you might use to describe something that isn't as official as it should look or be.
Because we do our best with the videos that we put on YouTube, but for the content that is behind a paywall, we make sure that all of it is as professional as possible. And so you can go in, if you are a beginner, you can go in and watch those videos and you'll be able to understand everything that is on them, at least at this point, if your native language is Spanish or Arabic, but we will be adding more languages later.
For sure.
Yeah, and let us know, actually, if you, we'll just take it based on demand, whatever language it is.
If you feel like there's a language that's not being, looked at that you think it should be, let us know.
Yeah, and we'll add that one next, because honestly, it's up in the air right now. Whatever we want. Okay. What time of day is best to practice? There is...
While you're awake.
Yeah,
being awake is a great start.
I know
to any time of practice.
I don't know if you're trying to be funny. You might think you're trying to be funny, but really though, there's a lot of videos on YouTube where it's like, learn English in your sleep.
Yeah, you can't learn in your sleep.
Yeah, that's not real. It's been proven that
you have to actively absorb the knowledge. You can't passively absorb it.
No, because your brain goes into a stasis when you're asleep, and it's processing the memories of the day prior. That's why sleep is so important.
If you spend money on that, we're sorry. We're so sorry.
I hope no one spent money on it, because that nonsense is available for free on the internet. Anyway, so but that being said,
what was it?
I know that in my own research, when I was trying to memorize opera scores and stuff, my best time of day to memorize new things and learn new things was the hour before I went to bed.
Yes, that is very true. So what you really need to have is enough time for the information that you are learning to be, delivered to your long-term memory. And it takes some time for that process to occur. And so, if you do these things, like she said, with a period of time right before you go to bed, it's you're putting that information away right before you shut down the computer and everything gets stored, right?
Yeah.
So that is very beneficial. But generally speaking, doing these types of exercise consistently will be more effective than, irregularity in frequency, but a specific time of day.
Yeah.
So.
And also just establishing practice habits that work for you. It's kind of an experimental process because everybody's brains are a little bit different. But if you are somebody who does best in the morning, I'm not, he's not, we're not really morning people. I feel like my brain turns on.
I'm kind of early morning, but
he'll wake up
after
early.
7 o'clock, 7 to 9 o'clock, it sucks. That time period.
An a.m., 7 to 9 a.m.?
Yeah. Not 9 p.m. Sorry.
I was like,
I'm not a zombie all the time.
I love 7 to 9 p.m. I feel like that's when my brain turns on.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully we answered some important questions for you.
Yesterday, we released the 3,000 words of English video, the first one. In it, there are 47 words of spoken English, and they all have to do with things around the home. We're going to be making a series. There are videos that come out Tuesdays and Thursdays every week that are going to be the same thing. Right. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know exactly when we post. We always post around 9 a.m. in the morning, so Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah, we're in Las Vegas.
Yep.
So everybody in Las Vegas, what's up?
What's up? We've only lived here for 14 months, but we freaking love it. You know why?
I love it here, and I've been coming here forever.
Because it's 72 degrees outside and it's February.
Thanks so much. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah.
We're out of here. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.